The morning arrives quietly, almost unnoticed at first, slipping into your room like a gentle whisper. Before the world begins its noise, before your responsibilities call for you, before memories of yesterday try to climb back into your thoughts, there is a stillness, a sacred pause that God Himself created for you. And in this soft beginning, something profound becomes clear. You are waking into a spiritual world, not a neutral one. There is an enemy who hopes to dictate the direction of your day before you even place your feet on the floor. He hopes you will rise feeling behind, overwhelmed, scattered, uncertain. He hopes your first thought will be about the pressure you carry, not the presence of God. He hopes you wake up tired from battles you never meant to fight alone. But the enemy's desires are powerless compared to the truth that stands over your life. Long before you opened your eyes, God had already gone ahead of you. He walked into this day before you entered it. He prepared strength for moments you have not yet lived. He positioned peace in places where fear once tried to live. He arranged protection around every step you will take. He released mercies new enough, fresh enough, and strong enough to hold everything that today requires. And now, in the gentle quiet of this morning, He invites you to come close. This is not a call to rush into prayer out of habit or fear. It is not a command to perform or impress. It is not a demand for perfect words. It is a whisper, a drawing, a moment where heaven bends toward your heart and asks you to lean in. So breathe. Let your chest rise slowly. Let your shoulders relax. Let the tension that tried to follow you loosen its grip. Let the noise inside you become quiet enough for your spirit to hear the Father say, "I am here. Begin with me." Beginning with God does not change the existence of challenges, but it changes the posture of your heart as you face them. It strengthens your inner world before the outer world even touches you. It shifts your perspective from fear to faith, from self-reliance to divine covering, from scattered thoughts to anchored peace. Starting the day with Him is not a small choice. It is a spiritual alignment. It is a declaration that the hours ahead do not belong to chaos, stress, or uncertainty. They belong to the God who holds time, seasons, and your story in His hands. As the morning light slowly expands across your room, your heart becomes aware of a truth that is older than the dawn. God is not watching you from a distance. He is meeting you first. When Jesus taught His disciples to pray, He began with the words, "Our Father," because He wanted them to know who they were speaking to. Before needs, before battles, before forgiveness, before guidance, identity comes first. And in the early quiet of this morning, identity is what steadies you. You are not approaching a distant force. You are not calling out to a silent sky. You are not reaching for a God who might hear you if you're worthy enough. You are drawing near to a Father who loves you without hesitation. A Father who sees you fully and still chooses you wholly. A Father whose presence is nearer than breath. A Father who never sleeps, never withdraws, never abandons His children. And when you whisper the word Father, something shifts inside your spirit. Fear loosens. Shame quiets. Loneliness breaks. A sense of belonging rises. Heaven is not far. It is the place where His authority reigns, and that authority covers every situation you will encounter today. When you turn your eyes toward Him, the weight of life begins to lose its power. Worry becomes smaller in the presence of someone greater. Pressure begins to melt under the warmth of divine love. Even the memories that tried to follow you from yesterday begin to fade as His peace settles into your soul. So take another breath. Let the room grow still. Let your heart grow aware. Let every anxious thought begin to drift like fog under the morning sun. God is near. Closer than your uncertainty. Stronger than your fear. Gentler than your worries. Greater than anything waiting for you today. These quiet first moments are not accidental. They are an invitation. They are holy ground. This is where the Holy Spirit prepares your heart, steadies your soul, and gives you the strength you didn't know you would need. This is where the atmosphere shifts, not outside you but inside. This is where the day bends toward divine order. His mercies for you today are new, perfectly tailored to your needs. There is no mistake from yesterday that God has not already forgiven. There is no regret He has not already washed clean. There is no wound He is unwilling to heal. There is no weakness He cannot strengthen. You do not have to bring the weight of yesterday into the gift of today. You do not have to drag old failures into a morning full of new grace. You do not have to relive moments He already redeemed. Let the past loosen its hold. Let it fall behind you like dust as the sunlight spreads across the floor. God did not call you into a new day to relive an old one. He called you into a new day because He has something prepared for you in it. You are standing at the doorway of fresh mercy, and the Father is inviting you to step through with a heart unburdened and a spirit ready to receive. The stillness deepens. The peace thickens. You feel the shift, the transition from waking into the world to waking into the presence of God. And in this peaceful beginning, a quiet awareness grows inside you. Today will require more than your own strength. It will demand a protection only God can provide. It will call for guidance only His voice can give. It will stretch your heart in ways that need His mercy. It will confront you with choices that require His wisdom. You will need His shield. You will need His clarity. You will need His forgiveness. You will need His covering. You will need His hand on your life. And all of that begins here, in the pause before the journey continues. As your spirit settles, you feel a gentle pull toward something deeper. A recognition that there is more to surrender, more to receive, more to understand. The morning has opened its door, but the path ahead stretches further than these quiet minutes. God is leading you somewhere, not away from your life but deeper into His presence within it. There is a holiness in this beginning that prepares your heart for everything else that is coming. A stirring that reminds you, you are not walking into the day alone. You are not fighting unseen battles alone. You are not carrying responsibilities alone. You are not making decisions alone. The Father who meets you in this soft light will walk with you as the light grows stronger. He will guide you, protect you, speak to you, strengthen you, and steady you. What begins in quiet surrender will unfold into divine strategy, divine protection, divine provision, and divine guidance. This morning, the way you began, is not the end of the story. It is the door to everything God is about to reveal next. The heart that has just turned toward the Father will soon learn to call upon His name, to walk under His covering, to receive His daily bread, to forgive as He forgives, and to follow His guidance through every hour. But for now, rest in this truth. You have begun the day with God. And because you did, nothing in the hours ahead will be faced without Him. The morning deepens in its stillness, stretching gently across the quiet corners of your room, touching the air with a kind of softness only God can create. It is in these early moments, before the noise, before the demands, before the world awakens fully, that something sacred begins to unfold in your spirit. You sense it even before you can name it. A drawing, a stirring, a quiet movement of heaven inviting you deeper. You pause. Not because you are trying to be spiritual, but because something inside you recognizes that this moment is not ordinary. It is holy. The world outside is beginning its slow rise, but your heart remains in a different rhythm. One unhurried, one aware, one turned toward the presence that has surrounded you since the first breath of the morning. And as you sit in this gentle beginning, your spirit slowly awakens to a truth that reshapes the way you see everything. The God who meets you here is holy. Not distant yet holy. Not unreachable yet holy. Not silent yet holy. Not far, yet clothed in majesty beyond anything your mind can hold. This holiness is not cold or intimidating. It is warm, inviting, purifying. It draws you close while lifting your heart. It steadies you while awakening awe. It reminds you that the one who listens to your whispers is the same one whose breath formed galaxies, whose voice set the boundaries of oceans, whose word holds the world in place even now. And yet, this same God bends low to meet you in the quiet of your morning. A shift happens inside you. Your breathing steadies. Your heart softens. Your spirit becomes aware of a deeper posture, one of reverence. You feel your thoughts beginning to lift away from the noise of your world, turning instead toward the one whose name carries power above every name on earth. Without speaking a word, you feel the holiness of God pressing gently into your awareness, reminding you that His presence is not something to rush through or overlook. It is something to honor. A whisper rises within you, slow, soft, full of meaning. Holy is your name. Above every fear that tries to speak. Above every worry waiting at the edges of my thoughts. Above the weight of yesterday that tried to follow me here. above every voice that calls for my attention today. The words form in your heart before they reach your lips, and when they do, something loosens inside you, a release you didn't know you needed. You feel the atmosphere shift, as if the simple act of honoring His name has opened the way for His presence to settle deeper around you. You are reminded that worship is not a song you sing. It is a turning of your heart, a refocusing, a declaration that God is first, that He is above, higher, greater than anything else that could claim your attention. The holiness of His name becomes a lens through which you begin to see everything differently. Your fears do not disappear, but they lose their dominance. Your worries remain, but they no longer define your posture. Your pressures still exist, but they no longer control your breathing. Your unknowns linger, but they no longer overshadow your hope. Because when His name is lifted high, everything else is placed beneath it. Not by force, but by truth. You whisper again, more fully this time. Holy is your name, Lord, set apart, exalted, mighty, pure, rightful King over my heart and over this day. The room doesn't feel small anymore. Feels like a sanctuary, as if the walls have stepped back to make room for the presence of God. You sit there, humbled but not diminished, held but not overwhelmed. For the first time in a long time, you feel both small and significant at once. Small in the presence of God's greatness, significant because that greatness has turned toward you. Your heart begins to settle even further, and in that stillness, the Holy Spirit gently shows you something. When you begin your day by reverencing God's name, you invite His authority over your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions, and every path you will walk. This is not obligation. This is alignment. It is the moment where your internal world aligns with heaven's truth, where chaos submits to order, where uncertainty bows to clarity, where your spirit remembers who truly holds power over your life. And in this growing clarity you begin to realize, almost with surprise, that the simple act of honoring His name has already begun to prepare you for the rest of the day in ways you could not have prepared yourself. You feel grounded. You feel steady. You feel aware. You feel held. But more than all of these, you feel led. It is here, in this quiet reverence, that another awareness begins to unfold, one slow and gentle but certain. If God is holy, if His name is exalted above everything else, then nothing that comes against you today has the right to rise above Him. No attack, no fear, no worry, no situation, no lie, no plan of the enemy. Suddenly, His holiness becomes not only something to honor but something to shield you. It becomes a covering, a banner over your day. His holiness is not distant, it actively surrounds you. It protects, it guards, it redirects, it purifies. And in this understanding, your heart moves subtly from worship to trust, from awe of who He is to confidence in how He will walk with you. You whisper again, slower now. Your name is my safety. Your name is my strength. Your name is my refuge. Your name is my beginning today. Something inside you unlocks as you speak it. A kind of courage, a kind of readiness, a kind of certainty that God is not only near but actively reigning over every detail of your life. You can sense it, the moment shifting again. The holiness that filled your heart is now preparing you for what comes next, as if God Himself is gently positioning your soul for the deeper journey ahead. Because once your heart is anchored in who He is, you become ready for what He wants to place over your life. A soft stirring rises in you, a recognition, almost like a quiet knowing, that the next thing God desires to do is protect you, to shield you, to walk ahead of you into every space you will enter today. You can feel this truth hovering like the first hint of sunlight before dawn becomes full brightness. You will not walk into this day unprotected. You will not step alone. You will not face anything without heaven's covering over you. Your heart leans into this awareness almost instinctively, as if it knows that the holiness you just honored is the same holiness that now surrounds your life like a wall of light. The atmosphere grows deeper still, and in this gentle transition, you sense the Father preparing to speak to you about protection. Not because fear is near, but because love is. Not because danger is waiting for you, but because His presence is going before you. Not because you are weak, but because He is strong on your behalf. This moment becomes a doorway, a threshold between worship and reassurance, between honoring His name and experiencing the safety it brings. And as you remain in this stillness, your spirit opens wide, ready for the next whisper, the next revelation, the next chapter of this unfolding morning with God. Your thoughts become quiet. Your heart becomes soft. Your spirit becomes attentive. You feel it, the gentle shift, the divine transition, heaven preparing to speak not only to your soul but over your day. The holiness you acknowledged is already becoming the protection you will walk under. And as your heart rests in this truth, you sense God leading you forward, toward the shield He is about to raise around your life, toward the covering that will accompany you into every unseen hour, toward the assurance that you will not face the world without the one who reigns above it. You have honored His name. Now you are ready to experience His covering. As the awareness of His holiness settles into your spirit, a new depth of peace begins to unfold, quiet at first, like a soft current running beneath the surface of your thoughts. But little by little, that peace strengthens into something steady, something weighty, something that feels like the very presence of God wrapping gently around you. It is here, in this holy stillness, that you begin to sense another truth rising, one both tender and powerful. God is not only holy, He is also your protector. His holiness is not distant majesty. It is a shield, a covering, a barrier against every scheme that darkness hoped to send your way, a wall of light that nothing formed in shadows can cross. You begin to feel the weight of this protection, not heavy but reassuring, like a warm cloak settling over your shoulders. It's as if heaven itself is adjusting around you, strengthening the atmosphere, tightening the covering, marking your life once more as belonging to the one who never leaves His children vulnerable. And in this moment, your spirit understands something with renewed clarity. God has never intended for you to walk into a single day unguarded. While the world begins to stir outside, you remain in this sanctuary of stillness, and the Father leans toward your heart with a whisper so steady it silences every remaining fear. You are not stepping into danger. You are stepping into my protection. The words move through you like gentle fire, warm, consuming, purifying. They burn away the worry that tried to attach itself to your mind. They break the grip of fear that tried to climb into your thoughts. They quiet the lingering anxiety of yesterday, replacing it with divine assurance. Your breath deepens. Your shoulders lower. Your spirit rises. And you find yourself whispering back, almost without realizing, "Cover me, Lord. Cover the hours ahead. Cover the places I will walk. Cover the paths I cannot yet see." As you speak, something shifts in the unseen. A strengthening, a settling, a holy alignment. It becomes clear that the Father is preparing you not just to feel protected in this moment, but to walk protected through the entire day. Your heart opens wider, ready to receive what He longs to settle over your life. The shield that goes before you. There is a movement in the atmosphere, gentle but unmistakable. It feels like the stirring of angel wings, like the quiet approach of a presence that guards and watches with unbroken attention. You sense that heaven does not sit still while you pray. Heaven moves, and the Father begins to reveal something. His protection is not passive. His protection is active. His protection is not merely a comfort. It is a strategy. He goes before you. He walks beside you. He stands behind you. He surrounds you fully. There is no direction in which you are exposed. No weakness He has not accounted for. No moment He has not already seen. You begin to understand. When you rise in the morning and turn your heart toward Him, He positions His protection around you like a fortress, constructed not of stone but of His presence. A whisper escapes your lips. "Lord, go before me today." And in that simple request lies a profound truth. What God goes before, the enemy cannot enter. Protection for your mind. Your thoughts, the place where fear tries to speak first, are the first area He covers. You sense Him placing peace like a shield over your mind, strengthening the borders of your inner world so nothing can slip in unnoticed. He guards you from anxious spirals, intrusive fears, lies spoken in old seasons, whispers of discouragement, confusion that muddles your clarity. As His covering settles, you realize that it is impossible to think the same way after being in His presence. Where fear once tried to build a home, there is now a firmness in your spirit, a quiet strength that says, "My mind belongs to God today." protection for your heart. Then the covering moves deeper. You sense the Father drawing His protection around your heart. The place where emotions rise, where hope lives, where wounds linger. His presence becomes a gentle wall guarding against sudden discouragement, a heavy sadness, old pain trying to resurface, a bitterness seeking a doorway, fear looking for a home. Your heart begins to feel lighter, not empty but held. You whisper, "Guard my heart, Lord." And He does. Not by hardening it, but by surrounding it with His love. So nothing can enter that does not align with His truth. Protection for your steps. Then your awareness expands outward. You sense the Father placing His hand over the paths you will walk today. The meetings, the conversations, the decisions, the unknowns. Every step from the moment you rise to the moment you return to rest. His protection becomes directional. It shields you from wrong places, from harmful people, from unexpected danger, from traps you will never even see, from situations that look harmless but hide trouble. You feel the assurance settle. Where you lead, I will be safe. It is not a blind trust. It is a knowing, built from the holiness you witnessed in Him moments earlier. The one who reigns above all things does not guide lightly. He leads with wisdom, foresight, and compassion deeper than your own understanding. Protection over your home. As the Spirit continues to move, your heart is drawn toward the place where you rest, where you breathe, where your loved ones live, the home entrusted to you. You sense God covering it like a roof made of peace. Every room, every doorway, every window, every corner. His presence fills the atmosphere like a fragrance unseen but unmistakably real. You feel Him guarding your family, your relationships, your peace, the spiritual atmosphere of your home. And your heart whispers, "Let nothing enter that does not come from you." He answers, not with words but with assurance. Protection in your going out and coming in. Then He stretches His covering even further, to every place you will travel today. Whether the distance is short or long, simple or complex, familiar or unknown, His shield does not shrink or weaken. It travels with you. You begin to feel the truth of Psalm 121 rising inside you. The Lord watches over your coming and your going. He will keep you safe on the road, safe in the air, safe in crowds, safe in solitude, safe in places where danger hides unseen, safe in moments where your attention is divided, safe in times when you do not even realize He is shielding you. His angels walk before you and behind you, not symbols, not metaphors, but real hands assigned to you. Because your Father never sends you into the world. Quiet strength comes in as this country sees you open around you. Your quiet confidence begins to grow within you. Not power imposed on you, but steady, grounded, not shaken. A confidence that whispers, "I am not alone today. I am not unprotected. I am not walking into the unknown without God." And this confidence is not pride. It is the fruit of reverence, born from recognizing His holiness and trusting His protection. Your shoulders relax, your heart steadies, your thoughts clear, your spirit feels anchored. You realize, fear cannot rule a day that God Himself has covered. Uncertainty cannot dominate a life held in divine hands. No plan of darkness can succeed against a child who began their morning in the presence of the Almighty. And as the morning light grows stronger, as if agreeing with what God has just placed over your life, you sense the story shifting again, not ending but unfolding into its next movement. For after God protects, He provides. After He shields, He strengthens. After He guards your steps, He guides them. Your heart is ready for that next part of the journey, the moment when the Father begins to supply your needs, to fill the empty places, to meet the unspoken desires, to give spiritual bread for both the ordinary and unexpected moments of the day ahead. The covering has been set, the shield has been raised, the protection has been spoken, and now the Father is preparing to open His hand, to give what only He can give, to supply what only heaven can supply, to fill what only His presence can fill. The morning is no longer just beginning, it is transforming. And deep within your spirit you feel the gentle pull forward, toward provision, toward renewal, towards strength for every step that comes next. As the fullness of God's protection settles around you, wrapping your mind, your heart, your steps, your home, and every unseen path, a new awareness begins to rise inside you. It is gentle but unmistakably divine. It feels like the morning drawing closer, like light stretching softly across the horizon of your spirit. You sense the Father shifting the atmosphere again, not removing the shield but adding something to it. Something warm, something sustaining, something you didn't realize you needed until this exact moment. It is His provision. Not just material provision, though He can open doors no human has the authority to shut. Not just physical strength, though He knows the weary places in your body. Not just emotional comfort, though He sees the fears you hide even from yourself. It is deeper than all of these. It is the kind of provision that meets you in the very core of your being, where your hunger is not for food, your thirst is not for water, and your need is not for resources, but for God Himself. It is here, in this moment of stillness under His protection, that you feel Him open His hand toward you, extending something that cannot be earned, demanded, or achieved. Daily bread. Strength for today. Grace tailored specifically for the next 24 hours. A supply from heaven that arrives not early, not late, but exactly when your spirit is ready to receive. Your heart softens even more. Your breathing slows again. A whisper rises from within. Lord, give me what I need for today. And heaven answers. Not with sound but with presence. The bread of peace. The first thing He places into your spirit is peace. Not a momentary calm. Not a fragile quiet that shatters the second the world speaks. But a deep, anchoring peace that settles into the hidden places of your mind. It fills the cracks where anxiety once lived. It smooths the rough edges of your thoughts. It quiets the voice that tells you to worry about what hasn't happened yet. Peace becomes like warm light inside your chest. Expanding, healing, replacing the restless pacing of your heart with steady trust. You breathe it in, sensing God whisper gently, "My child, you do not have to carry today alone." And suddenly the weight you brought into the morning, even without noticing, begins to lift. The bread of strength. Then, like a second wave, strength begins to rise within you. It isn't loud or explosive. It doesn't feel like adrenaline or forced optimism. It feels like quiet endurance. Like the kind of power that grows slowly but holds firmly. Like the courage to face what you once thought you couldn't. Like the steady ability to carry what God has given you without collapsing under what He has not. This strength is not your own. It comes from a deeper well. Feels holy, steady, unshakable. It is the strength of the shepherd who carries lost sheep. The strength of the Father who lifts His children. The strength of the Savior who endured the cross out of love for you. You sense Him whisper, where you feel weak, "I will be strong." And your spirit believes Him. The bread of clarity. Then God gives something even more surprising, clarity. Thoughts that felt tangled begin to open. Confusion begins to untie itself. The fog that clouds direction starts to thin. You begin to see not the whole journey, but the next step. Clarity doesn't always come in long explanations, but in gentle direction. A shift of understanding. A sense of what matters and what doesn't. Something inside you aligns as God whispers, "Listen, I will show you the way," and your heart becomes still enough to hear Him. The bread of provision in the natural. Then your awareness widens. You sense God not only supplying your spiritual needs, but also placing His hand over every earthly concern. Your finances, your responsibilities, your work, your relationships, your opportunities, your storehouses, your daily tasks. You feel the assurance that He sees the pressures you carry, the deadlines, the needs, the places where resources seem thin, and instead of fear, something else rises. Trust. Because you begin to realize that God's provision is not a reaction. It is a preparation. He has already seen today. He has already prepared the supply. He already knows where the extra strength, extra patience, extra wisdom will be needed. And in this confidence, your soul whispers, "Lord, provide what I cannot provide for myself." You sense God answering. Not in words but in certainty. He will. The bread of joy. Then joy arrives. Quiet, unexpected, almost shy at first, but unmistakably divine. It rises like a warm breeze within you, lifting your spirit in places that felt heavy, bringing color to moments that felt faded, restoring laughter to parts of your heart that forgot how to breathe. This joy is not emotional hype. It is not dependent on circumstances. It is not fragile. It is joy born of God's nearness. Joy that comes from knowing you are seen, covered, and provided for. Joy that settles deep enough to sustain you through both calm and storm. You feel God whisper, "My strength is your joy." And your spirit receives it. The bread of faith. Finally, faith comes. Not as a command, but as a gift. Faith that rises without striving. Faith that believes God is already working behind the scenes. Faith that sees His fingerprints on things that once looked uncertain. Faith that holds your heart steady in ways you cannot explain. It is the quiet conviction that God will be God. In every hour ahead. Nothing missing. Nothing forgotten. Nothing overlooked. Faith settles into your chest like an anchor in deep water. Steady, unmoved, unshaken. You whisper softly, "Lord, I trust you with today." And heaven breathes back into your soul. A heart prepared for the next step, with peace anchoring your mind, strength filling your body, clarity guiding your thoughts, provision covering your needs, joy lifting your spirit, and faith settling deep within your heart. You begin to sense yet another shift. Not an ending, not a conclusion, but a transition. A gentle movement of the Holy Spirit preparing your heart for something deeper, something essential, something that cannot be skipped in the journey of a soul that wants to walk closely with God. Forgiveness, because a heart can be protected, and a life can be provided for. But if bitterness still lingers, if old wounds remain unhealed, if grudges still whisper, if yesterday still clings, the soul cannot fully carry the blessing God wants to place upon it. You begin to sense the Father drawing near again, not to expose your pain, but to heal it, not to shame you for what you held, but to free you from what held you. His voice becomes softer, warmer, deeper, a whisper filled with compassion. "Let me cleanse your heart, so nothing weighs you down as you walk through this day." Your spirit knows what He is inviting you into next is not easy, but it is sacred. The protection has been set. The provision has been given. The path ahead is being prepared. But before you walk it, He wants your heart light enough to move freely, willing enough to receive deeply, open enough to love fully. And so the journey continues, gently leading you toward the holy work of forgiveness, the place where God heals what yesterday tried to break, and frees you to step into today, unburdened, restored, and ready for everything He has prepared. As the gifts of God's provision continue to settle gently over your spirit, peace grounding your thoughts, strength filling your limbs, clarity sharpening your direction, joy softening your heart, and faith anchoring your soul, you begin to feel another movement rising from within. It is quieter than peace, softer than joy, deeper than strength, but it carries a weight unlike anything before it. It is the gentle pull of God inviting you to look inward, not to condemn you, not to expose you, not to shame you, but to free you. A stillness enters the space around you, the kind of stillness that feels like the world itself has paused. And in that sacred quiet, you sense the Father drawing near with tenderness so deep, it melts every defense you didn't know you were holding. You feel Him whisper, not into your ears but into your heart, "Let me cleanse what yesterday left behind." The words settle inside you like a soft breeze brushing over still water. And suddenly you realize that as much as God protects you, as much as He provides for you, there is something He longs to release from your spirit, something that has quietly been weighing you down. Not outward burdens, not visible pressures, but the hidden heaviness of the heart, the remnants of hurt, the echoes of disappointment, the shadows of frustration, the quiet resentment, the unspoken sorrow. Things you carried into this morning without noticing. Things you tucked away thinking you could handle. Things you thought time might naturally heal. But time does not heal what the heart refuses to release. Only God does. And so, in this quiet moment He comes, not as a judge but as a healer. Not demanding but inviting. not pointing to your failures but reaching toward your wounds. You breathe in slowly, and for the first time today you sense the deep truth rising. There are parts of your heart that need cleansing before you can walk freely into the day ahead. You didn't come seeking this, but God came offering it. The Father begins His gentle work not with accusations, but with compassion. He touches the place where regret has quietly built a home. He reaches into memories where you said too much or too little. He shines light on moments where your heart leaned into frustration or reacted from fear. He lifts the heaviness of guilt you've been attempting to ignore. He uncovers the disappointment that settled in layers beneath your accomplishments. And instead of turning away from you, He draws closer. His voice comes again, steady, warm, unwavering. Let me cleanse this, so you don't carry it into the new day. A breath escapes you that you didn't realize you were holding. Something inside loosens. A knot in your chest. A tightness in your mind. A pressure in your heart. You feel safe. Safe enough to be honest. Safe enough to let Him look at the places you hide. Safe enough to release the weight you've carried internally. For the first time in a long while, you let the Father see you, fully, vulnerably, honestly. And He meets you not with judgment, but with mercy so deep it breaks you open in the gentlest way. You whisper almost without thinking, "Forgive me, Lord." And heaven leans close. There is no hesitation in His response. No long pause. No weighing of your worthiness. Immediately, you feel the warmth of His forgiveness begin to move through your spirit. Washing, cleansing, lifting, renewing. It feels like water flowing over the dry ground of your heart. Like sunlight touching the coldest part of your memory. Like a gentle river passing through and carrying everything that was never meant to stay. Every guilt. Every regret. Every wrong step. Every harsh word. Every heavy thought. Every silent resentment. Every buried frustration. They begin to loosen their grip. Because forgiveness does not come through striving. It comes through surrender. And you have finally surrendered. But as His forgiveness flows toward you, you sense something else rising. Something even deeper. Even harder. But ultimately freeing. He is inviting you not only to receive forgiveness, but to give it. Your heart tenses for a moment. Not out of rebellion, but out of fear. Because forgiveness toward others is not simple. It touches wounds you've tried to ignore. It stirs memories you thought you buried. It asks you to release what felt like your only protection. But the Father is gentle. He does not push. He invites. "My child, let me free you from the weight of what they did." And suddenly you understand something profound. Forgiveness is not about excusing the wrong. It is about freeing your heart. It is not about saying the pain didn't matter. It is about saying the pain can no longer hold you. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to the person who hurt you. Forgiveness is a gift God gives to you. Your chest softens. Your shoulders lower again. Your heart, though trembling, opens. You whisper what feels like one of the hardest prayers. "Help me forgive them, Lord." And God responds, not by forcing you, but by strengthening you. A warmth fills your chest, healing the place where the wound was deepest. His presence presses gently against the memory, not erasing it, but washing it clean of bitterness. You watch as resentment loses its hold, as pain loosens its roots, as anger fades into something smaller, then lighter, then finally free. It is not pain disappearing instantly. It is God reclaiming the space where pain once ruled. You feel lighter. Not empty, but freed. You realize that forgiveness is not an action. It is a release. And God has just guided your heart into that release. Breath by breath. Your spirit continues to open. And God continues to cleanse. Not only your memories, but your desires, your expectations, your emotional attachments, your silent disappointments. He is not just forgiving you. He is restoring you. Feels like a fresh wind inside your chest. Like a gentle rain clearing the dust from your soul. Like morning light touching the darkest corners and turning them bright again. You whisper softly, "Make my heart clean, Lord." And you know, beyond doubt, that He has, that He is, that He will. When the cleansing settles, a new stillness fills the room. A holy stillness. The kind that only comes after healing has taken root. You feel new. Not in the sense of becoming someone else, but in the sense that God has restored the person you were always meant to be. Your heart is lighter. Your spirit is freer. Your mind is clearer. Your emotions calmer. Your soul softer. And in that softness, God whispers one final truth for this moment. Now you are ready for what I will lead you into next. Because a cleansed heart can hear God more clearly. A freed heart can obey Him more easily. A healed heart can walk with Him more closely. You sense the story shifting again, moving toward divine guidance, toward purpose, toward decisions shaped not by fear or wounds, but by a heart made whole. The Father is preparing to take your hand and lead you, step by step, moment by moment, into His will for today. The day is no longer just beginning. It is being transformed, and your spirit is ready for the next unfolding of His guidance. As the cleansing presence of God settles into the deepest parts of your heart, a new lightness fills your spirit, soft but unmistakable. You can feel that something within you has shifted. What once felt heavy is now lifted. What once felt tangled has been released. What once clung to yesterday has finally been loosened by the Father's gentle hand. There is a purity in your chest that you haven't felt in a long time, a quietness in your mind that feels holy, a tenderness in your heart that feels safe. And in this sacred quiet, this place of cleansing and newness, you begin to sense a new movement rising from within. It is not the movement of release anymore. It is the movement of direction. God has forgiven you. God has freed you. And now, God desires to lead you. The shift is subtle like the first breeze before dawn, but your spirit recognizes it immediately. The Father is inviting you to walk with Him through this day, not by your own instincts, not by your impulses, not by your fears, but by His guidance. You breathe in deeply, and the whisper of His heart comes gently. Let me lead you where peace lives. Let me guide you where danger cannot follow. Let me show you the path I prepared long before you woke. His words settle into you like warm oil poured slowly over the soul. Soothing, protective, illuminating. You realize this truth. A cleansed heart is not meant to wander. It is meant to be guided. And so you open yourself to His direction not out of fear, but out of trust. Trust that His wisdom is greater than your understanding. Trust that His timing is better than your plans. Trust that His path leads to life while every other path leads to burden. You whisper softly, "Lead me, Lord. Keep me from the things that would pull me away from you." He answers without delay. Not with urgency, but with certainty. The presence around you shifts again, this time becoming protective in a deeper way than before. It is as if heaven places a hand gently at your back, steadying you, shielding you, guiding you. You begin to sense His guidance first in your thoughts. The places where temptation often begins its quiet whisper. Where confusion once clouded your mind, there is clarity now. Where old fears tried to rise, they are met with truth. Where discouragement once spoke loudly, its voice is softened to a faint echo. Where rushing and impatience tried to push you forward, there is now a holy pause. It becomes clear that God is not only protecting you from external danger. He is delivering you from the inner patterns that once tripped you. You feel Him guarding your reactions, your impulses, your old habits, your emotional reflexes, your silent doubts, your unspoken fears. He is covering the places you didn't even know needed covering. The Father whispers again, "Let me lead your thoughts before they lead you." And something within you bows in agreement. Then His guidance moves deeper, reaching the quiet places of desire and emotion. The places where temptation often disguises itself as comfort, where distraction pretends to be opportunity, where impatience hides beneath urgency, where fear masks itself as caution. But His presence reveals truth. He shows you the difference between what pulls you and what leads you, between what distracts you and what aligns you, between what drains you and what grows you. It is not a harsh warning. It is a tender illumination. You see with new eyes, feel with new sensitivity, discern with new clarity. And He whispers, "I will not let you walk into traps unseen. I will not let what is not for you call your name. I will guard you from the subtle places where the enemy hopes you never look." This is deliverance, not dramatic. but deep. Not loud, but transformative. You begin to realize that God's protection is not only from what happens to you, but also from what grows within you. So He places His hand gently over your emotions, still tender from the cleansing He gave earlier. You feel Him steadying the places that once reacted quickly, soothing the places that once hurt deeply, softening the places that once hardened to survive, strengthening the places that once weakened without warning. With each breath you feel more stable inside, more grounded, more connected to His guidance. Your emotions begin to rest under His authority, no longer swept by sudden waves, no longer stirred by old wounds, no longer shaped by yesterday's battles. You feel Him whisper deeply, "Let your heart follow me today." Not fear, not pressure, not expectation. Me. Then His guidance reaches your steps, the physical places you will walk, the conversations you will enter, the choices you will make, the crossroads you may not even see coming. You feel His presence move before you, like a lamp lighting a path you haven't stepped onto yet. You sense Him gently steering you away from what drains you, away from unnecessary conflict, away from distractions disguised as responsibilities, away from people whose intentions do not align with God's will, away from opportunities that are not assignments. You feel protected not only from evil, but from misdirection. And at the same time, you sense Him drawing you toward what matters, toward peace, toward wisdom, toward fruitful conversations, toward meaningful work, toward relationships shaped by love, toward moments that carry His purpose. His guidance is not controlling, it is freeing. You whisper with growing confidence, "Order my steps today, Father." And His presence answers by surrounding your feet with invisible strength. You begin to understand something profound. God does not only lead you away from temptation, He leads you toward purpose. He is not only delivering you from evil, He is delivering you into His will. This is how a child of God begins the day. Not only cleansed, not only forgiven, not only protected, but guided. Guided into peace, guided into alignment, guided into clarity, guided into purpose, guided into the life He has prepared. The morning feels different now, not because the world has changed, but because you have. Your heart is steady, your mind is clear, your spirit is open, your path is guided. And in this sacred awareness, you sense one more movement rising, a conclusion forming like the final notes of a song, a movement of surrender and worship, of acknowledging that everything, your protection, your provision, your forgiveness, your guidance, flows from a King whose power and glory reign forever. The next part of your journey is approaching, the part where you lift your eyes fully and declare His kingdom above all things. But for now you sit in this holy silence, letting His guidance settle like morning dew upon your soul. As the soft weight of God's guidance settles upon your spirit, there comes a moment, gentle but undeniable, when the heart quiets even further. The earlier movements of cleansing, protection, provision, and direction have prepared you for something deeper, something holier, something that reshapes not just your day, but your entire posture before God. It begins as a warmth rising quietly in your chest, a recognition blooming like morning light within the soul. God has not only led you, He has claimed you, He has covered you, He has carried you into this moment for a reason. His presence feels near, closer than breath, closer than thought, closer than anything you have known today. And in this nearness your spirit begins to understand. There is nothing left to hold on to but Him. Nothing left to lean on except His strength. Nothing worth following except His will. Nothing worth exalting except His glory. A soft trembling moves through your heart, not fear, but awe. A reverence that cannot be manufactured. A humility that rises naturally when the soul sees God clearly. You sense the Father drawing you into a truth so vast it humbles every part of you. For mine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. These words don't feel like a closing line. They feel like an opening of heaven, a revelation, a holy realignment. You realize you are not merely being guided today. You are being invited into the reality of God's eternal reign. And your soul yields. A deep surrender begins, not forced, not pressured, but flowing naturally from the heart of someone who has finally tasted the goodness of the one who rules all things. You whisper into the quiet, "Yours is the kingdom, Lord." And as soon as the words leave your lips, something inside you bows, not your body but your spirit. It bows to the truth that God's ways are higher, His wisdom deeper, His perspective eternal. You feel your own ambitions soften, your need for control ease, your desire to figure everything out begin to fade. Because God's kingdom is not a distant realm. It is the rule of God over your life, your decisions, your desires, your purpose. You sense that the King is not asking you to worship from afar. He is inviting you to walk inside His will. A holy stillness settles. A peace that does not merely comfort, but crowns. Then another truth rises, steady and unshakable. Yours is the power. Not the power of force, but the power that holds the universe together. The power that breathes galaxies into existence. The power that calms storms with a word. The power that heals wounds too deep for human hands. The power that lifts the broken from ashes and sets them on their feet again. You feel this power not as something outside you, but as something surrounding you, a covering of unshakable strength. And in the warmth of that strength, your fears shrink, your worries lose their voice, your doubts fall quiet, because the God who guides you today is not limited by weakness. He is not threatened by darkness. He does not waver, does not falter, does not fail. His power is the reason you are safe. His power is the reason the enemy cannot touch you. His power is the reason every step you take today is covered with victory. You breathe out slowly, almost whispering, "Your power carries me," and heaven echoes it back with a weight your heart can feel. But the movement does not end there. There is one more truth rising like the sunrise itself. Yours is the glory, and suddenly you see it, not with your eyes, but with your spirit. You see the beauty of who He is. You see the goodness that has followed you through seasons you barely survived. You see the faithfulness that carried you when you felt you had nothing left. You see the mercy that forgave you, the love that restored you, the presence that never abandoned you. His glory is not distant light. It is the light that has been illuminating your entire morning. It is the warmth that has held you since the moment you whispered His name. It is the reason your heart feels softer, lighter, cleaner, stronger. And something inside you, something deep, begins to worship. Not with songs, not with raised hands, not with ceremony, but with surrender. A surrender so complete, so peaceful, so genuine, that you wonder why you ever resisted Him at all. You whisper with reverent love, "All glory belongs to you forever." And your spirit knows it is true. In this holy moment, a final realization dawns. You are not ending anything. You are beginning. Beginning your day with the kingdom above you, the power within you, and the glory before you. Beginning your steps under the reign of a God who governs eternity. Beginning your thoughts under the strength of a God whose power has no limit. Beginning your purpose under the light of a God whose glory will never fade. Your heart opens fully, not partly, not cautiously, but completely. And you feel the Father's presence embrace you, steadying you for the hours ahead, strengthening you for the decisions to come, covering you for every unseen moment waiting for you outside this sacred space. You are ready now, not because the day will be easy, but because God will be in every part of it. Not because you have the strength, but because His power goes before you. Not because everything is certain, but because His kingdom rules over every uncertainty. Not because you are deserving, but because He is glorious. The morning has transformed. Your heart has transformed. And as you rise from this holy quiet, you rise not alone, but carried, guided, and crowned by the presence of the One, whose kingdom, power, and glory will reign over your life forever. As the final echoes of worship settle gently through your spirit, a holy quiet fills the room. Not empty, not silent, but alive. It is the quiet that follows surrender, the quiet that follows revelation, the quiet that comes when your heart has finally found its place inside the presence of God. You sit in this stillness for a moment longer, letting everything He has poured into you, protection, provision, forgiveness, guidance, purpose, sink deeper into the soil of your soul. You feel full, yet light, strengthened, yet rested, awake, yet peaceful. And in this sacred fullness, the Father leans close again, not to correct, not to caution, but to bless. A warmth like gentle sunlight presses softly against your chest, spreading through your being, filling the spaces that life once fractured. You feel Him whisper, "My beloved, go into this day covered in my presence." The words settle into you with the weight of truth and the tenderness of love. He continues, not with haste, but with the slow, steady assurance of a father who knows the day ahead more intimately than you ever could. Nothing you face today will surprise me. Nothing will rise against you without meeting my protection first. Nothing will confuse you without my wisdom near. Nothing will weaken you without my strength ready to rise within you. You breathe in deeply as His peace, the peace that surpasses the limits of understanding, wraps itself around every corner of your mind. He speaks again. Walk in what I have given you. Walk in the cleansing I placed within your heart. Walk in the clarity I breathed into your thoughts. Walk in the strength I poured into your spirit. Walk in the joy I planted beside your breath. And your heart responds in quiet agreement. There is no striving in you anymore. No frantic need to perform. No rushing to secure what God has already promised. No fear of the unknown. Just a gentle readiness, a holy steadiness, that feels like standing at the edge of a sunrise, watching its warmth spill over the horizon and realizing, the light is for you. You rise slowly, not just with your body, but with your spirit. You rise from reflection into purpose, from prayer into movement, from stillness into calling, from quiet into obedience, from receiving into walking. And as you rise, you sense heaven rising with you. You feel angels positioned around you, their presence quiet but mighty, sent to guard, to guide, to cover your steps as they meet the ground. You feel the Holy Spirit stirring within you, reminding you gently that you will not face a single moment without His voice. You feel the Father's love resting behind you, reminding you that even if you falter, even if you hesitate, even if you stumble, His arms remain open and steady, always ready to lift you again. And above all, you feel the Son walking beside you, your shepherd, your Savior, your companion, your source, present in every breath that follows. The day waits before you, but now it feels different. It is no longer something to endure. It is something to walk through with God. You whisper one last time, not out of need, but out of gratitude, "Lord, thank you for this morning." And He answers softly, with the warmth of a father whose joy is to be near his children, "Walk now, my child. Walk with courage. Walk with peace. Walk with me." You step forward, not away from His presence, but into the world carrying it. The morning air feels lighter. Your spirit feels grounded. Your heart feels steady. Your mind feels aligned. And deep within you, one truth burns like a flame that will not fade. You are not stepping into this day alone. You are stepping into it with God. The story of this morning has reached its final lines. But what God will do through you, what He will whisper to you, what He will reveal in the hours ahead, that story is only just beginning. You walk into the day, and heaven walks with you.